I want to talk about Cooper Flagg today because he has not had the best start to his career. And I didn't want to ring the alarm bells all too early. And I'm still not like we're in DEFCON like panic mode by any means. But there has been enough sample size from Cooper that I am getting mildly concerned about this year for him specifically, at the very least. I really don't think that what has been happening should really hinder any idea, any notion of what his ceiling is. But in terms of his Rookie of the Year award race, which a lot of people more or less just defaulted to Cooper being the winner of that, more or less like it was a foregone conclusion, in the same way that DPOY is if Wemby's healthy. I was not all the way on that train just because there are a lot of weaknesses in Cooper's game. He's not coming into the NBA anywhere near a complete player. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Little Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, and hype it to help it do better in the algorithm. Yeah, trying to hit 40K subs, so if you have not subscribed already, that would be much appreciated. Specifically, the concerns about him were in relation to shot creation and his ability to be a high-volume shot creator. And Jason Kidd apparently said, fuck those concerns, we're going to play him at the point guard spot and let's see if he figures it out. Well, he has not, and I watched his most recent game versus the Detroit Pistons, and it felt like every time Cooper Flagg dribbled the ball, every time he tried to get around a defender, he failed hilariously. Even Duncan Robinson, he was struggling to get around. I took a couple of notes on just the shots that he took in this one. His first shot was an off-the-dribble midi over Cade Cunningham, where Cade was right in his grill, contested it super well, did not touch the rim. He also hit a pull-up three that was wide open because his defender went under the screen, but hey, that's a good make. He did get fouled at the rim by Duncan Robinson on one of those plays. However, it was a fast break, and it would have been a very easy finish and one if he just bodied Duncan Robinson, but he couldn't. He could not move Duncan Robinson, and it ended up being a foul, so it still worked out positively, but you would hope that he would be capable of being a little bit more physical against a player who should be much weaker. Literally the next possession, Brandon Williams, who is like a 6'1", 6'2" point guard, I watched him body Duncan Robinson at the rim on the next possession. A way, way, way smaller player who at least ostensibly should be much weaker than Cooper Flagg. He had a nice spin move around Asar Thompson. However, when he got to the rim, he could not finish with his left hand, which is something that I have noticed with him. His left hand does not seem as strong as you would like. He missed another left-handed finger roll on a drive by Asar, and that one was not even close. It was off balance. He rushed it. I don't think that was a shot that was going to go in if it was right-handed either, but even still, not exactly positive. He did hit a off the dribble three over Asar, so that's cool. That's a good shot creation play, especially against one of the better perimeter defenders in the NBA. He airballed a catch and shoot three over Cade Cunningham in the corner. And in general, he was just missing a lot on drives. Against Robinson, he had another bad layup attempt that did not get anywhere close to the rim. These aren't just missed layups, they are bad missed layups. There was some good off-ball action late in the fourth quarter. One that was a handoff from Daniel Gafford, handoff right into his screen. Walked into a pull-up mid-range shot from that, and he was completely wide open, so he hit that. And he also had a pair of cuts. One of them was okay, the other one was a really good opportunity, but both of them resulted in trips to the free throw line, so that's good stuff. He also was forced to just launch a heave to beat the shot clock because there was a loose ball, so I can't get mad at him for that particular instance, but every time he tried to create his shot, his defender was glued to him. He created zero separation, just no capacity at all to generate an open look on his own. And like I said, there were shot creation concerns for him coming into the NBA, so I can't say that that is all that surprising. If we take a look at his game log, he had a really good game against the Toronto Raptors. I didn't realize, he went 6 for 8 from the field. I read that as threes. I was like, he hit 6 threes, and no, he did not. Most he's hit is 2 thus far. But he had this 15-point game versus Indiana. Obviously, his first game versus the Spurs wasn't good. His second game versus Washington was much better. Raptors game was good. So, like, this is an upward trajectory, but then he gets this 2-point game against the OKC Thunder, another okay game against the Indiana Pacers. So that's a little bit of a bounce back. But then he had 16 in this one. However, he went 3 for 14 from the field. He hit all 8 of his free throws, so that kind of improved the overall scoring numbers, but literally only 3 shots that he made, 2 pull-up threes and a pull-up mid-range shot. The pull-up mid-range shot being, again, completely wide open, and one of those pull-up threes being completely wide open. So that's not good. Another negative sign is that he has not had a positive plus-minus besides for this Raptors game. Also, a lot of that is just that Dallas keeps fucking losing, so there is that. But you would hope that he would do a little bit more shot creation versus Detroit because of Anthony Davis being out, but that did not really amount to much of anything for them. So yeah, those are the games. His overall, I want to look at his shooting ranges where he's doing at each spot on the floor. I decided not to look at this. If I had to guess, right around the rim, yeah, right around the rim is good. Wait, what the fuck? Who is this? Why am I looking at Jake LaRavia? I clicked back too many times. That was earlier video today. I'm guessing he shoots pretty decent around the rim, but not phenomenal, and that's about it. 69% nice, that's pretty good, but 26% from floater range is putrid. 20% on mid-ranges on 10 to 16 foot is not good. 40% is not good. I also don't like that he's taking a higher volume of long mid-range shots as opposed to close mid-range shots. Yeah, that's just fucking brutal. And if 21% of your shot diet is the only shot that you are shooting well on, then you're obviously going to struggle with your efficiency. The positives with him is that he is getting to the free throw line a decent bit, but there's really nothing else that I can give him. He's also had some turnover troubles. 1.8 isn't a crazy average, but he had a 5 turnover game against Washington. Travel in this one as well. I feel like I've seen him travel a good amount. But the other thing I wanted to look at is his lineups, because he definitely feels like he's better whenever D'Angelo Russell is on the floor. Okay, well, have they really played D'Lo with him so little? He played a bunch in the last game with D'Lo. Here, let's look at let's just look at 3-man combinations. Yeah, this is the only positive one. He plays with D'Lo there and there. Yeah, the minutes with D'Lo, he is better. The team is better. This is a +3. -3 here, but everything else is massive negatives. Like, I think he just needs to not play point guard primarily because he's just not that adept as a ball handler. And I'm curious as well what the on-off splits with him look like. Yeah, the Mavericks are 13.5 points better offensively with him off of the floor, and they're also a worse defense with him on the floor. So he's currently got a -24 swing. That is very, very far from ideal. Yeah, I would chalk this up mostly to he's just playing the wrong fucking position. He's also 18 years old, and like the worst aspect of his game coming into the league has been what has been most emphasized. He has done so much self-creation for a player who is not really that great of a self-creator. Now, absolutely, that aspect of his game should be developed, but I don't think the mentality of like, okay, throw him to the wolves and he'll figure it out. That's not a smart method of development. In order for Cooper to develop his shot creation, he can't be one of the only concerns that the defense has on the floor. Like, he's out there with a bunch of dudes who are very, very one-dimensional, and then he is also pretty one-dimensional offensively. So when that is the case, the defense, every time he tries to create, is just going to load up on him. It's just not ideal. I think in a better spaced offense with a better shot distribution across the board, he would thrive. Because like Cooper Flagg is coming from... He's kind of in a similar vein of like Jason Tatum, where it's this do-it-all forward, but where Jason was more developed in the scoring and the shot creation sense early, and then he became a better playmaker and defensive player. Cooper is the opposite. Cooper is a way better defensive player than like a rookie Jason Tatum, and a way better decision maker with the ball in his hands, I think. But his actual creation ability just isn't there right now, which isn't his fault. That is something that was pretty well documented heading into things, so I don't think that he's a bust. I don't think that he's going to be as bad as he has been all year, but the Mavericks have done a lot to not help him out. They have put him in situations that he is not ready for, and I don't think that he's really learning from them, because like he had that game versus Toronto. I'd be willing to wager. I only watched like half of that game, so I don't want to say that I watched the whole of it. But that game versus Toronto, I'm willing to bet you more of those buckets than not were assisted. That's just what he is better at. And in fact, if I look at the shooting, yeah, he should have more than 41% of his twos assisted. He should definitely have more than 2/3 of his threes assisted. Like, he hit 2 pull-up threes in this Pistons game, so maybe he's better at them than I thought, but he's shooting sub 30% this year. He's probably better at catch and shoots, if I had to guess. That's generally the standard for most players. I'm not worried about Cooper Flagg. His defense has been good. I know the impact metric was not screaming that it was amazing. He's also hitting all of his free throws, so like that's a positive sign for him as a shooter in general. Just needs a different context and more time to go for him to just get more consistent and so on. So should we be worried about Cooper Flagg? Nah, not really. He's the youngest player in the NBA, and he's in an unideal circumstance. That is it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and goodbye.